Hi lovelies! If your house is anything like mine, come September, things tend to get a little hectic, especially when it comes to weeknights, which is why all month long I'm sharing some of my very favorite new easy weeknight dinner recipes. And I'm excited to be kicking things off with this absolutely delicious gnocchi dish that's loaded with chicken sausage, tomatoes, and lots of fresh basil. What's not to love? The best part is this dish includes only 5 ingredients and comes together in less than 15 minutes. Yes, you heard that right, less than 15 minutes. Did I also mention that it happens to taste absolutely incredible? Come on, what more could you ask for? So I've got a little bit of oil heating up over medium-high heat in a nice cast iron skillet. And to that, I'm going to be adding some smoked chicken sausage. I've opted for chicken here, but of course pork or turkey would totally work in this recipe. You could probably even do this with some vegetarian sausage if you wanted to keep this dish meatless, totally up to you. And I'm just going to get my sausage into my pan like so, and I'm going to get it into a single layer. So all I'm really looking to do here is just to brown my sausage on both sides. The great part about working with a smoked sausage like this is that it usually comes pre-cooked, which means all we're looking to do is just heat it through and develop a bit of that golden color, which ultimately results in even more great flavor. So we'll let that cook up for maybe 3 minutes on the first side, give it a quick toss, another 3 minutes or so on the next side, and then we're going to get our gnocchi cooking. So next to my skillet, I've got a pot of boiling water heating up on the stove, and to that, I'm going to be adding my fresh gnocchi. This can usually be found in the deli aisle at your supermarket, and what I really love about working with fresh gnocchi is that it cooks up in just 2 to 3 minutes. What could be greater on a busy weeknight? Not to mention the fact that it's pillowy and delicious and totally filling. So once you've got your gnocchi in the pot, you can just let that boil away while we turn our attention back to our cast iron skillet. At this point, my sausage is cooked, so I'm just gonna push it over to one side and get to work on cooking up my tomatoes. Now, if you are lucky like me, then you may still have a little treasure trove of garden tomatoes left over. This is the perfect recipe to use them. Basically, all I've done is just cut my cherry tomatoes in half, and I'm going to get them right into my very hot skillet, because what I want to do is sort of let them blister and cook up until they really start to soften. At the same time, I want to add even more great flavor to this, so I'm also going to be adding 1 clove of minced garlic to my tomatoes, and I'll let those cook away for just 1 to 2 minutes. That's really all it takes for those tomatoes to start to break down and become extra flavorful. Oh, you can see the skin of those tomatoes has just started to blister, and that means it's time to bring it all together. My gnocchi has floated to the top of my pot, which means it's done. And I'm just going to use a nice slotted spoon or a spider like this. I love this tool in the kitchen, it's so great. To transfer my gnocchi right into my skillet like so. Leave no gnocchi behind. And I'm going to grab maybe a 1/4 cup or so of my cooking water and transfer that into my skillet as well. What that starchy water is going to do is combine with those beautiful tomatoes that have started to fall apart and to create this really simple but flavorful sauce that's going to coat everything. So simple, but so good. Of course, we want to hit this with some salt and some pepper, as you do in the kitchen. You could also add some Italian seasoning or some Greek seasoning to this if you wanted to. I'm choosing to keep things really simple. Nice big pinch of pepper. And then the final step as it comes off the heat is just going to be piling on some fresh basil. Also from the garden if you're lucky. No kidding, guys. This one is a winner. And that's it, guys. Dinner is served in 15 minutes or less, and you won't believe how flavorful it is. Now at this point, if you wanted to add a little fresh mozzarella to this or some freshly grated Parmesan cheese, you totally could, but I have to say, I love it just as it is in all of its simplicity. Totally perfect. You get the smokiness from the sausage, the acidity of the tomatoes, of course, lots of great garlic flavor, and that fresh basil takes it right over the top. It's honestly one of those dishes that I think the entire family can get behind. Don't believe me? I hope you will give it a try for yourselves. If you do, be sure to tweet me, Instagram me, or Facebook me a photo because you guys know how much I love seeing your kitchen creations. This recipe, like all of my recipes, is featured on healthymealplans.com, our amazing meal planning site that allows you to browse more than 1,000 recipes, drag and drop them into your weekly meal plan, and then automatically generates your grocery list for the week. It's really, really handy if you're doing weekly meal planning, so I hope you'll give it a try for yourselves. And finally, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe because there is lots more deliciousness where this came from.